My name is the Agnihotra Lady, and this is the Cosmic Clinic. And welcome to this episode where we will be talking about being of service to each other and being of service to the planet. I did post up the Zoom information. If you'd like to come in with questions, you can come in with your audio, or you can come on video, or you can post your questions or anything any comments on any of the Facebook pages you may be watching from. Welcome, welcome. And so we're going to get started with the Viruti mantra, which is like how I normally start off. And it seems like I'm so far away. So here we go. Bu Swaha, Agnihotra Lady Swaha, Vayave Idamama Swaha, Suryaya Idamama Bhurva Swaha, Prajapatiye Idamama. Okay, so we're ready to get started. So I hope everyone's been having a wonderful week, and it's been peaceful for you. It's been a couple of weeks since I've done a show, and I'm glad to be doing a show this Saturday, and I want to jump right into the topic. Okay, so it's been more and more things that I've been reading, and we've all been hearing about dealing with the environment, so many things dealing with climate change. I think recently I saw that there's a place in Mexico where there's a sinkhole and a house is right next to it, and it's going to engulf the house, and these people will say they're going to be homeless. They have no other place to go. That's one thing. And then I saw that Aaron Brockovich reported in Florida, and other news people have been, reporting as well too. She's not a journalist, but she does have a Brockovich report. But they've been saying about building this wall on the coast of Florida because things are sinking. They're talking about, I think it's going to be a 20-foot tall wall that's going to cost over $1 billion. So I hear these things and I'm wondering, what are people thinking? Why don't you just deal with the cause of, these issues, as opposed to, especially in the Florida case, as opposed to trying to spend tons of money that, of course, people have to pay for through taxes and whatnot, to try to solve the things that we've messed up with our planet. And so the planet is in process of healing, and the planet is in great need of us to assist in the healing. And we are to serve the planet. And so when I talk about being of service to each other, it starts with your teacher that's everywhere, and it's nature. Nature is the ultimate teacher. Nature is God, and God put all these things in place to remind us that we're connected to Him, Mother, Father, God, and to remind us of our place and our duties as caretakers. And so I think that we have forgotten that we're supposed to be of service to the planet. But the planet is continually teaching us and nudging us like, hey, this is how you be of service. This is how you serve each other. This is how you serve the various aspects of me, nature. This is me, nature. Listen to me. And so what I mean by that, if you look at just the whole ecological process and how the solar system works, how everything on this planet operates, Every aspect of nature is of service to another part of nature. And it does this by divine order. This is a automatic thing. And just look at what happens when you see that there's a tree that's growing. And this tree, it has long roots that go down deep into the soil, and it provides shade for a flower. Okay, because certain flowers and plants grow in shaded areas only. So the tree is being of service to those plants and flowers, you see? And then those plants and flowers, they're being of service to other aspects of nature. So you have a bee that is buzzing about, going down to inside the beautiful, gentle petals of a flower, and then is tasting of this sweet nectar. Then the bee goes about and does all this pollination that benefits all of, the plant kingdom, and anything that needs to grow is benefited by that. So the flowers are serving the bees and the other pollinators that make sure that things are growing and that we can perpetuate life. Okay, so there's service in every aspect. Okay, so we have water that services all the marine life, the coral reefs, the seahorses, the starfish, the sharks. Okay, Nemo, the fish from the cartoon, all the Nemos being surfaced for any of the kids that are listening. So the oceans and the seas, they're serving the marine life. And as you know, that the coral reefs, they service pretty much all of the ocean life. You have to have a healthy coral reef system for you to have a balance there in the water. So my point is that all these things are pointing to service. Nature is constantly teaching this lesson. How can I serve this other aspect of myself? Because nature is a whole. I'm breaking it down into different things that happen, processes in the ecological system, but nature is a whole. But the different parts are saying, how can I serve? How can I serve? How can the sun serve the planet? How can these flowers serve the bees? Everything is of service. Okay? And these are our lessons. If we look, listen, just observing all of this reminds you of your duty as a caretaker of the planet. And of course, when you see these things and you see it's done all the time, it's a everyday, every moment occurrence. This is how you pattern your life. And so as people, the first thing I say is that if you're imbalanced in your life and things not going right, the first thing you need to do is be of service to others and not just focus on yourself. And my father was talking about this the other day. He was saying, oh, I woke up. He said he woke up, as he said, feeling like a wet blanket hit him, which I'm not sure what that feels like, but that's what he said. But he says that he called to check on someone that had just had an operation. He didn't really know the person very well, but he wanted to make sure that they were okay. And he says that just doing that put his energy into a more positive mood, and it lifted him up. And he's pretty much in a good mood most of the time. But I thought it was very interesting that even when he woke up not feeling so positive, that he knew that being of service to someone else would be a way for him to service himself. So I want us all to be very cognizant of that being of service to each other, that's each of our duties. Okay, that's a duty that we have to fulfill. God, the Creator, put us on the planet to take care of each other and take care of the planet. We are caretakers. We are caretakers. We're not doing a very good job of being a caretaker of the planet, and that's why the planet is going through all this stuff. However, when there's this imbalance, when people are not being of service to each other, this is what happens, this chaos. And you've seen the headlines with um, needless violent occurrences and killings and things like that. And it's because we're a society where we move so quickly. We're chasing money. These jobs that many of us have, they're stressful. You know, you're moving so quickly and you work these long hours that you don't have time to be of service to others or to yourself, and to be reminded to take care of the planet. And I've talked about this often with Jason and other people in our family. I said, how in the world can you be close to God, the creator, if you're busy working 50, 45, even 40 hours a week, and your whole life revolves around that job? Your only job as a human being is for you to learn your lessons while you're here on this planet, and to be of service to each other, and to make sure that you take care of the planet. And so one of the things that we've been talking about is that Agnihotra is a way for you to reset the planet's system and to reset yourself. And Agnihotra is what we teach at Shanti Billing Institute and also at Shanti Atlanta, which is the Atlanta campus. And this is something that will liberate people into understanding on a higher level. So Agnihotra, which this Viruti mantra is not Agnihotra, is done in the copper pyramid and is done at sunrise and sunset. And so for those of you that are not familiar, when you do Agnihotra, you put certain substances inside the pyramid. You put dried cow dung. You put brown rice. Make sure it's unpolished. Can you see that? Just regular brown rice. And ghee. And by the way, dried cow dung does not smell. So, you know, once it comes out the cow, yes, before it's dried, it does smell, but dried cow dung doesn't have a smell. And so you put these substances inside the copper pyramid. And so at sunrise, when we chant a Sanskrit mantra, and there's a miraculous, beautiful healing that takes place, and it goes up 8 miles and a 2-mile radius. And there's an exchange between the sun and the pyramid, and then nutrients are put back into the atmosphere. So that's why Sri Charles, what we would always say, heal the planet, heal yourself, because you are the planet. Each and every one of us, we're not apart from it, separate from it. We are part of that. This healing that takes place means that everything is healed at the same time. And we're talking about on the subatomic level, because there is a science to Agnihotra. There have been many studies that have been done, not that many done in the United States where I live, but there have been many scientific studies that show that it cleanses the air. It cleanses all of these toxic particles out of the air. It cleanses the water. You don't have to buy bottled water anymore. You can take the ash, resultant ash from this, put it into a glass jug. Let me see if I have a glass jug over here. I don't have it nearby. Let it sit in the sun for 3 days, and it cleanses the water. So everything that we teach at Shanti Billing Institute is based around this ancient Ayurvedic wisdom that's been lost, but now people are coming back to it for this modern world, because the time is now. So many things are happening. We need people to be aware and pay attention and really do the fire on a regular basis, because the earth is going through a change. I've talked before about we're going through Satya Yuga. And so there's a cleansing that's taking place, not just with the planet, but with individual people. So there's nothing to be frightened of, because after a cleansing, there's a rebirth. And so for those of you that do Agnihotra, or those of you that are into meditation and to the higher consciousness things that are not seeing with just these physical human eyes. You understand the changes that are going on. So what we're doing here at Shantiville Institute is telling as many people to turn to doing Agnihotra and other homifiers that you can do throughout the day to cleanse yourself and help cleanse the planet. There are more changes coming to the planet, and we need people to be prepared. We need people to be able to go into this deeper understanding that there's something greater out there that's beyond what you see here physically and who you think you are physically. And you know, we've often talked before about we are energy beings. So Agnihotra, which is a Kriya yoga, you basically are cleansing up your energetic body, okay? Because we are energy beings, okay? We're made in the image of Father, Mother, God, the Creator. And that means that we are just like the Creator, okay? We are energy beings. And so there are many things that you can harness if you do the disciplines, if you meditate, if you do deep breathing. You'll be able to access wonderful, beautiful powers that you can use to make your life better, and you can use to help people, and you can show people how to be happy and peaceful. We won't have all these chaotic headlines that we see on the news, okay? So just understand, going back to our original topic, which is all the same thing, I haven't really switched topics, that being of service to the planet is serving each and every individual on the planet, is serving yourself, because you're not separate. And so yogis have known this for thousands and thousands of years, and they understand that they are that plant, that tree. Each of the animals, anything that's alive, is inside of us. So yogis know this, and this is why you have deep respect for anything that's living on the planet. And most certainly you have the utmost respect for a human being. You're never to disrespect a human being. It's taken several incarnations for you to get to this human state, so you're not to ever be disrespectful to a human being. And it just breaks my heart when I hear about these killings and people fighting and all these things, because we're human beings. We're great and wonderful. Why are we fighting and killing each other? If you knew who you really were, you wouldn't do that. I mean, you just don't do that. It's really important that you pay attention. If you are meditating, pay attention to whatever messages you're receiving in the dream state, when you're meditating, when you're performing Agnihotra, and that you do as much fire as possible. I got a text from Swami Jamal that was talking about really letting people know what's going on and prepare. He's been doing Agnihotra for a long time. He's been doing it, I think, around the same time that Sri Charles started over 46 years ago. And he's up in Baltimore, Swami Jamal. Shout out to you, Swami Jamal, if you're watching. And so he's in the text talking about a lot of these things. So a lot of changes are happening. And he just was sharing messages from some other people that have had communication with celestial beings, or they had dream visions about different things that are happening. So there's a lot of preparation that we have to do. And I've talked before about you have to let go all these old ways of thinking, and being angry and unforgiving, and being lustful and envious, and all these things that zap your energy body, and they keep you away from love. And know that love is the highest order of the universe. The entire planet, it operates on love. And think about it, if you're serving the planet, is that not love? If you're serving each other, is that not love? And so that high vibration that we're talking about, that high vibration is very healing. Okay. The planet, everything on it, the animals and the plants, they can feel our vibrations of love. They also can feel the vibrations of anger, chaos, and all these other things. And they shrink away from that. So they feed off of the love. So it's our duty to keep ourselves in alignment with love as much as possible so the planet can survive. Okay? And you want to have a harmonious life at home, at your job, out there when out there around other people. And so in Ayurveda, we teach that to be balanced, it starts first with having balanced thoughts. Okay? Balanced words, watch what you say. Okay? Okay. You don't say, oh, this job I hate it, it's horrible. You say, I have a challenging job. It's difficult, but I'll get through it. You change what you say. And so when your thoughts and your words are congruent, then your actions become congruent with those two things too. So it is important that what you do at home, okay, what you do outside your home, it has to match even what you do for a living. So, in the stress therapy sessions that we teach to the medical people and whatnot, we talk about this, that part of living harmoniously is that your job has to match everything that you do in your life. Your life is supposed to be congruent. It's whatever you do at home should match what you do outside. So if you have a stressful job or a job where they're doing improper things that are not good for other people, there's a lot of lying and things like that, you really can't do that job if you're talking about going to the next level of your spiritual journey, your spiritual development. So you have to surrender to having everything being focused on God, the Creator, and your higher purpose in life. So some people may be watching this and say, oh my God, but I have to have this job. I have to have this money to do these things. And what we always teach is that you're not to serve money. Money is to serve you. So whatever job that you have, it brings about money, which is a tool for you to do things for yourself and your family, for you to be of service to your family and to others. So it's coming back to being of service. And so a good example, and I think last time I talked about George Washington Carver. So he was a botanist and a conservationist. So I've talked about him several times, and he's right up the street from Chantilly, buried there along with Booker T. Washington at Tuskegee University. And the reason why I constantly talk about George Washington Carver, because he was beyond being a scientist. He was a man of faith. He talked to the plants. He said the plants would tell him what to do. And he was a man of service. Okay, I was watching something on PBS where they really was really good. It was an old documentary on PBS from years ago. And they talked about how he was about helping the people. So he only had 3 patents out of all these peanut inventions and things that he did with soybeans. He only had 3 patents, and people often ask him, well, why couldn't you can make tons of money. Why do you only have 3 things? He said, I'm here for the people. So for those that are not familiar, look him up. I mean, he purposely moved to Tuskegee. I think he was, he went to Iowa State, graduated from there, and he could have just stayed there. He had a job there teaching. And but he knew that he needed to go to where the people needed him the most. And so in Alabama at that time, you had a lot of sharecropper families. And so they, because they were monocropping with cotton, That was not good for the soil. So he was the original regenerative farmer. He was like, listen, you plant these soybeans and these peanuts and these sweet potatoes. This is how you regenerate the soil. Stop monocropping with the cotton. You know, of course, we already know that was about money. Plant just one thing forever, okay, using slaves, and because it's about the money, but it was not good for the soil. And also, too, he understood, too, that you needed to have something more than that one thing to depend on for your livelihood. So he was creating other things that the farmers could sell. And so he would go around teaching the farmers, no matter what awards he got, or I mean, he was good friends with Henry Ford and all this stuff, and people offered him tons of money to go elsewhere and do other stuff, but he understood that he was to be of service to the people. Okay, so if you would like to go, I don't even know the name of that documentary, but it's an old PBS documentary, and it really talks about, that's what he was about. You know, he was about being in tune with nature, listening to the plants, so he could do what God had intended for him to do, what he was born to do. And like I said, he was a conservationist. I mean, he was the very first environmentalist, I would say, because he was about that soil. And if you look at pictures of him touching the plants and doing this stuff, he just had such a gentle look in his eyes. Like he understood he was that plant, and that plant was him. He understood that. I said, yeah, he was a yogi. George Washington Carver was a yogi. So that's a good example of him serving people. And as a matter of fact, from what I understand, because him and Booker T. Washington bumped heads a lot, he tried to leave from teaching there, and no one ever took his resignation seriously, and he stayed there. So I don't think he stayed there because, you know, they, you know, said, you know, they ignored him. He stayed there because he understood the bigger picture. Okay, so this is what we have to do. We need to look at the bigger picture with where our planet is concerned. We need to think, be in the mindset of George Washington Carver. And there are other people besides George Washington Carver that are about conserving the planet. You have Jane Goodall. We have other people that are not quote unquote environmentalists or scientists like that are about taking care of the planet, being of service to the planet. So that's really what we wanted to share with you this evening. So pay close attention. Go outside in the morning time. Listen to what the birds are saying to you and to each other. Look at what's happening. Observe and do things that nourish the planet. Okay, another thing that a lot of us do, we buy so many things. We're consumers, especially here in the United States. You know, and I've talked before about making your own items, things that you can use. I mean, that can cut down on a lot of the things. So this is apart from what people say companies should do to take care of the environment. But remember, you know, all of us are responsible for the planet. So you start with each individual. If you can't control the company, and there are a lot of companies that are becoming sustainable, you control yourself. It takes everybody doing a joint effort to make a change. But like I make my own toothpaste. I make my own dish detergent. I take my recycle bags to the grocery store. And then here in Atlanta, that we have a store called Samananda Soap. I need to get things in liquid form. They have liquid soap. I bring my own containers. Even I need to refill up on honey. I bring my own container for that. So there are a lot of things that you can do to be mindful of that. And if you know, people are complaining about the quality of food, the best thing you can do is grow your own food. If you can't do it by yourself, get other people in your community to help you. Okay, because soil is having problems, you know, everywhere, and you can control the food if you grow it. I mean, we've been seeing a bunch of food recalls for a long time. That's because people have to go and depend on farmers, or for those that eat meat, they have to go buy these things to be able to survive. But go back to yourself. You are the individual. You are the individual. So these companies, if they won't do sustainable things and they're not taking care of the planet, then you take a stand. They'll listen if they see nobody's buying their stuff, their crap. So it's all about actions and accountability, and about being a good caretaker of the planet, being a good caretaker of yourself, and being a good caretaker of your neighbor. So that's the message that we wanted to share this evening, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. And I'll see you next time on the Agnihotra Ladies, the Cosmic Clinic. Be blessed, and I'll talk to you soon.